there are certain episodes of The Simpsons that are not canon that seem to just get forgotten about. For example, a certain episode with Skinner from quite a few seasons ago. However, usually that's not within the same season. If they do something that they then decide, actually, we didn't want to do that, let's forget it happened, they usually at least wait until the next season. But that's not the case here. The Real Housewives of Fat Tony is the 19th episode of the 22nd season of The Simpsons, and when I saw the title for this, I just thought, what? Because something happened. It's really hard for me to discuss this without giving spoilers for a previous episode, but I'm going to assume that you've seen that episode. Something happened a few episodes back in this season. I think it was maybe episode 9 or 10, and it means that this episode shouldn't have existed. And had this been a few seasons later, I would have thought, yeah, alright, they just wrote that off. But to be in the same season, I'm just so baffled and a little bit annoyed, to be perfectly honest. But this episode, 19th episode, 22nd season, directed by Lance Kramer, involves Selma falling in love with Fat Tony. And it's about their relationship and how far they take it, and Marge is not happy with this, and it does raise the question, should Marge be allowed to be unhappy with Selma being in a relationship with Fat Tony? Or should she just accept it because it's her sister and she wants her sister to be happy? And I don't think there's necessarily a right or wrong answer there. But I was going to say I quite enjoyed it, but I think that's maybe a bit of a stretch. I think I spent most of the episode complaining to myself that this episode shouldn't exist. Because it shouldn't exist. At least not in this season. And I don't understand. I really don't understand. Unless they aired in the wrong order. If that happened, I understand. Because that does sometimes happen. Sometimes, there are delays with production of certain episodes because, maybe they have to shuffle them around because a voice actor's not available or whatever. So maybe they were meant to be in the opposite order, or at least a different order. Maybe. I can make peace if that's the case. So let's pretend that that's the case, regardless of what the actual truth is. If that's the case, and I get over that, I still didn't love it. I just didn't find it that interesting. I'm kind of fed up of Selma getting into all of these relationships. Obviously, because I'm binge watching The Simpsons over a short space of time, I feel it more. Whereas if I'd watched this on broadcast one season a year, I wouldn't be that bothered. So it's a victim of its own success, I guess, in that regard. But I just didn't find it interesting. I didn't find it that entertaining. I didn't really care for what was happening. And part of me thought maybe Marge's reaction could be interesting. It could be thought-provoking, and I guess it was to a degree. But it still wasn't that interesting. We do have a subplot, kind of a bizarre subplot, involving Bart sniffing out truffles and Lisa helping him. And, well, it took an interesting turn. It provided some comedy, but it wasn't enough to make me like the episode very much. So honestly, I didn't like the episode. I didn't find it entertaining. I found it to be quite dull. Not necessarily predictable, but just the things that happened I just didn't find to be that entertaining or that engaging. And then coupled with the fact that I don't think this episode should have existed, or at least not at this position in this season, it's not left me feeling very positive about the episode. Let's leave it at that.